What piece of media that you remember very fondly as a child, but you've since revisited, only to realize that it's not at all how you remember it? Similar to how
Ooh.
Taylor went to Chuck E. Cheese for pizza. Now, if I may jump in, because I've been considering it for the last couple minutes, man, there's a movie that I loved when I was 5 years old. It was my world, and that movie is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, starring Dolph
Mm-hmm.
Lundgren
Seen it.
and what's her name from Friends? The brunette. What's her name?
Courtney
Oh,
Cox, maybe.
Courtney
yeah.
Cox. She's in there too. Yeah, might be her first role. It as a kid, I was like, I had the He-Man sword, and like when you hit stuff with it, it made sound effects like.
Mm.
And He-Man would go, I have the power of the universe. And I would do that at 5 years old. I'd be on top of the dining room table. I have the power of the universe. Mom would be like, get that off then. I'd be like, crack her with the fucking sword. I love that shit. Those swords were like sold out that Christmas. It was a big fucking deal. He-Man was huge. He-Man toys came before the movie, if you can even envision a scenario like that. They made toys and they were like, hey, we should make a movie about these toys.
Really?
Not the other way around. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I went and I watched that shit like a year ago. I watched He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It is an abomination of a movie. It is awful.
Did you watch it repeatedly as a kid? I'm asking in a roundabout way. Did your parents have to sit through that movie repeatedly as their son?
Well, I had my own TV in my room and like
okay.
VHS and stuff like that. And there were movies that like I watched repeatedly over and over. Problem Child was one of those. I love that movie about the little kid who was just being a real piece of shit. But no, and things like Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those are the ones I watched on repeat. This one I probably watched like 4 or 5 times a year as a kid, like when I was 5 or something.
That's
so,
not even
like,
that much for a kid. Yeah.
yeah, like there are kids who like watch the same shit every day when they get home from school. You know, they'll rewatch the same movie 100 times. But it's awful. It's awful looking back, and I kind of feel bad that it's awful. I was like, I wanted to be as good as what I remembered as a 5-year-old, and it's just not.
Yeah. I feel it. Something for me like that was Blank Check. That movie. Do you remember Blank Check?
Yep.
Came out. I just checked. Came out in 1994, and so I obviously saw it later because I was like 3 years old. And when I saw that, and it was like someone gave. I have so few memories of the movie itself. When someone gave this kid a blank check, he took it on his computer and typed in like different amounts onto it, and was like,
He typed
$1
$1
million. And then he took a printed out check with $1 million on it and cashed it. And within like 30 minutes of the movie, he's got butlers. He's got a fucking slide coming out of his house. He's got bounce houses. He's got cotton candy machines. And I remember watching that at like 5 and 6, being like, this guy's got it figured out. And then later it was like, wait, you can't do that. You can't take a check, scan it, put your own information in Times New Roman, and then take it to the bank.
It was like a very specific scenario that allowed that to go down. Like the account, like the account that the money came out of, they had like stolen that money, and the bankers were expecting someone to come and like get that money that day. They're like, "Don't worry, someone's coming to pick up the cash." And then this kid showed up, and he's like, "You?" He's like, "Yep, it's me." And he's like, sir, he like calls the guy. He's like, your agent is here. You're sure you want me to give the money to him? You give him that fucking money. I don't want to talk about this again. He's like, all right. He's just like, here's your $1 million, little boy.
But yeah, that movie as a kid was so cool because I remember in kindergarten, like $1 million to a child that's such a number that it doesn't make any sense. It's just infinite. It's infinite to a child. The same way that I remember talking to a couple girls and a couple guys in my kindergarten class. We're all fucking 5 or whatever. And a topic of conversation was like, do you think so-and-so's family is worth $100? And we'd be like, you think we'd be going to this school if they had $100 to spend? No, there's no way. Ruth's parents have $100, and they'd be like, Taylor, do you think your parents have $100? I'm like, Probably not, man. 100, a full, like that's how you know how it is, like how money works.
Like the Brian voice in Family Guy, like that's just fucking what's his name?
Yeah, that's just McFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
Have you ever heard Lisa?
Did you guys ever see?
Lisa is the person who does Lisa Simpson does like just sounds like Lisa Simpson. Like there's she doesn't do anyone else.
Her name's Nancy Cartwright. Have you heard her Scientology ads?
She doesn't. Scientologist?
No. Well, she doesn't. And no. It
depends how much you pay.
Yeah. So I've heard her do Scientology spiel in the character's voice. And I'm like, ooh, somebody's probably not happy that she's doing that. Like, I don't think you're allowed, but it's her voice. So she's like, hey, man, don't have a cow. Sell your soul.
Meanwhile, Matt Groening is like, I'm getting closer to Satan.
Matt Groening, I feel like he has to be like borderline kidnapped to continue to do that show. Like, there is no way the guy who invented The Simpsons is like excited that his baby is 25 years into being bad.
I think 25 it's more years. Than that, dude.
You might be right. Yeah, like it stopped being good around 9/11.
Like 91, 92, like
89.
Early. They had 8 good years.
89?
Yeah, it's older than me,
dude. It's 8 years of goodness, like and that's better than any other show you can name. It's 8 years of amazing TV, and it's better than any other show you can name.
Yeah,
it's really impressive what they did. They should have killed it when the cow was just getting old and could still like we had to put a pet down this week. It was time, sometimes it's time. That's what they should have done with The Simpsons. You're doing them a favor. All those characters. Let Homer ride off into the sunset and be Homer. Let Bart go and be himself. Don't do.
It would be a good end to The Simpsons.
I want to hear
like the Sopranos, where like they all go to the Krusty Burger in like season 11, and Homer's like walking to the table with his Krusty Burger, like, Marge, did you note it? And then it's just cut to black. Yeah. Did Homer die? Was he killed? Is that just the end of the story? You don't know.
I think the consensus of the Sopranos was that he was, right? I think that the consensus is that he is murdered in front of his family.
Lots of context clues and things earlier in that season and other.
It'd be a good way for The Simpsons to end. Homer murdered in front of Marge, Bart, and Lisa. It would be a full circle conclusion to his like suicidal note in like episode
Halloween
2.
Special, maybe.
A Treehouse of Horror where he died. They die all the time in Treehouse of Horror.
My favorite Treehouse of Horror instance is when
you're all over this ancient show.
I'm like,
I've heard of that. It's on TV tonight. What are you ancient?
Probably
is. It's a new one tonight, baby.
Okay, the episode you're about to tell us about, is it from last week?
Fuck no, it's from 1995.
Yeah, it's a good
1995.
Yeah,
how old were you in 1995?
4.
30 seconds. It's a little quick. They walk out of the house.
1995.
And Flanders, everybody's turned to zombies. The Simpsons are running their car for cover. Homer's got the gun. Flanders goes, "Hey there, neighborino, how about you let me nibble on your ear a little bit?" Homer turns around, doesn't even hesitate. Boom! Blows his head off. Bart goes, "Dad, you killed zombie Flanders." And Homer goes, "Zombie?"
Yeah,
that's it. That's my favorite little. It was so funny to me as a kid that had me rolling.
Flanders is pretty solid there, Kyle. That was a very good Flanders.
I wasn't trying.
That was a good Flanders.
The three of us all are really
do better.
Hell, how diddly, Homer? How about a little eat of that brain or Reno? Like whatever the hell he would sound like.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
Community has this huge like Reddit community. I see it memed a lot, and like people seem to really like it. I watched a lot of that shit, and I cannot get over how unfunny it is. I didn't chuckle. I didn't smirk. Like
I liked it. I'm single. I liked it more than you. I thought that the first season wasn't the best one, but seasons 2, 3 are maybe where it peaks, and there's a long, slow decline. And
how many years has it been on?
6-ish, maybe.
It's off now. I think they're coming back for a movie. That's the
word. Dude, when shows stop and they come back with a movie, always good.
Sopranos movie comes out next year, by the way.
What?
Wait, James Gandolfini's dead.
His son is going to play him. It is a prequel. It's called shit, what's it called? It's got a cool title.
Sopranos.
The Family.
No, it's like something of the street, Legends of the, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the Sopranos prequel, I believe, got pushed back to next year. James Gandolfini's son looks a good bit like him, like not identical.
Are all the
close
actors
enough.
replaced?
I would imagine so, because it's been so long. And
Right, they can't pull off a prequel, right? You know, they'd
No,
have to look
I don't think any of
25
them
years
can.
younger at this point.
And it's supposed to be around the time where Christopher Moltisanti's father is around, Dickie Moltisanti. So he was dead when Sopranos began. He's they talk about, oh yeah, when Dickie was around, blah blah blah. He was like Tony's mentor. So I think it'll be Tony and Dickie, and I'm sure there'll be a Carmela, like maybe he's just now meeting her. But you know, all the guys that he goes way back with, somebody's gonna be Paulie. So yeah, I'm into that. I'll watch it. I think David Chase may be making it.
Hell, even I'm curious enough to watch it. You know, I want to know. That's a thing shows get me with. Like Walking Dead. I've invested, 8 years of Walking Dead watching at this point? It's 16 episodes a year. That show's kind of lost me in a lot of ways, but a part of me is like, I guess I want to know what the boys are up to now. How's Maggie?
Yeah. It's called The Many Saints of Newark. That's going to be the name of the movie.
The Many? M-A-N-Y?
The Many Saints
M-I-N-I.
of Newark. M-A-N-Y, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not the miniature saints. Like they're all cast as like little people. Hey!
I'm James Gandolfini. Yeah.
I like that idea better. I want to see the mini saints.
I don't think you know what kind of family you're messing with here.
You mess with the Lollipop Guild, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm down to see that. I'm actually just right now. I'm on season 7 of The Sopranos. I started rewatching it maybe a week or two ago, and I'm just blazed through the whole fucking thing. I'm getting toward the part where it's starting to get sad, you know. But that 7, not that the show is in decline, because I think 7 seasons is quite strong. It's just that like, things are falling apart here. This is about to get rough.
What's happening?
Right now, Tony has sort of sided with his brother-in-law, Bobby Bacalari, and he's sort of made him his second in command, the guy he wants to filter everything through, and taking Christopher out of that position. And Christopher's getting shit on a lot because, you know, he's finally got his sobriety under control. But the way he's accomplished that is really removing himself from the group dynamic. So he's not hanging out at the Bada Bing strip club. He's not hanging out at the Satrielli's pork store with that big case of beer in there. And it's really like rubbing everybody against him in a way, because he's kind of not part of the crew anymore, not part of the social dynamic anymore. And meanwhile, in New York, Phil Leotardo it was just the anniversary of his brother who was killed by Tony's cousin, Tony, Uncle Al. And he's sitting there like saying to himself, he's like, we've been pushed around since the moment we came to Ellis Island, and they took our name Leonardo away and called us Leotardo. As soon as we got here, they took our name. No more will we be pushed around. He's just like plotting to like be shitty to Tony and eventually kill Tony if he can. I don't know. It's getting to the part where it's like, Tony's peaked. We're kind of heading down. He's got like maybe 1 or 2 more fun episodes in him, and then it's kind of danger close mode. My favorite episode is called The Pine Barrens. And it's where Christopher and Paulie end up like antagonizing this Russian who was in the special forces, beating him half to death, throwing him in the trunk of the car, and then driving him off to the Pine Barrens, which is like South New Jersey, where it's all wooded areas.
I used to camp there.
They're gonna bury him out in those woods. Well, they open the trunk and he's still fucking alive. So Paulie's like, no big deal. We'll just march him at gunpoint out here and make him dig his own grave. Well, again, he was in the special forces, so he dings Christopher in the head with a shovel and makes a run for it. And Paulie shoots him in the head. Well, he just takes a headshot and then vanishes.
I can do that in Tarkov sometimes.
That's my favorite episode, because Christopher and Paulie end up these city mobster types lost in the woods in a snowy winter New Jersey night, shivering and crying, and Paulie's got like Tic Tacs that he's eating and like not sharing, and Christopher finds some like ketchup packets, and he's like, "What you got? Ketchup packets? Are they clean?" Because Paulie's a germ freak. It's
the car
hilarious.
not start for some reason. I don't recall.
They find a van to like hide out in the woods, and they sort of like rip the carpets up and huddle in there. When they get back to their car, it's been stolen. So like, and that never comes back around. That's one of the real fucking threads that's left dangling, and you never get to like, I wish at the end that had been part of the story. I've talked about it before, how I would have preferred Sopranos to end, where because all of Tony's money that he's hidden is through a Russian guy, and it's hidden overseas. Like, I'd have liked that to be part of the show, because he's got millions of dollars stashed overseas in the islands or something that he filtered through a Russian bank through the guy that these guys murdered's best friend. And they never found a body, and the car was missing. So it's sort of suggested that maybe this guy looped around, got in the car, and disappeared. You don't know what happened.
Yeah. I do wish, I hate it when shows have unaccounted for threads like that, but in this one, maybe it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and that is my favorite episode, despite the loose thread.
There's
so
one
whatever.
scene in there where Chris shoots the gun so poorly that it ruined the whole 8 years for me, or what I think it's 8 years. Their gunsmanship, gung fu, I don't know what to call it, but he shoots the gun and he kind of pushes it forward with every shot, like pa-pow, pa-pow, pa-pow. This actor has never shot a real gun. Now, I understand that mafia guys are not supposed to be special forces guys, but I do expect them to fire a gun before. I do expect them to be able to shoot a person. They do shoot people. I know, maybe usually up close or people who aren't even moving execution style, but look, 10 minutes of practice will have him better at handling guns than that. He was worse than someone who's never fired a gun before.
Yeah.
And that
it's weird firing those blanks, though, especially
it.
the blanks they're using, because they don't even cycle the weapon. So I don't know, that might look bad, but this might look worse. You know, just their hands fully. You know, I don't know. I feel like I could fake it, but maybe I'm special. I don't know. I just feel like
legitimately are with regards to guns, right? Like, you've got your top 1% in gun experience, but
I suppose, but yeah. What bothers me the most about Sopranos that dates it is the fights and the sound effects they use for punches really irk me. It's these stock sound files of, like, I don't know. It sounds like somebody just slapping a steak or something. I don't know. Just, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't seem real. I wish they worked on the fight choreography more. It's so much about story, but if you're gonna have a gunfight or a fist fight, like, I'd like to not be taken out of the story by that not looking real.
What's a movie that you guys loved as a kid or like adolescent or in that age, and then you tried to watch it again and you're like, this is terrible, this is the worst?
The Ninja Turtles. You know, like as a kid, I really liked the Ninja Turtles movie. But like, I tried to watch that a few years back, and it was so shit that like you look at Master Splinter and he's like a puppet or something. He's
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 like
all
a marionette doll.
Yeah, it's like you.
I wouldn't say
silly,
terrible to answer Taylor's question, but Star Wars doesn't hold up to me. Like episodes 4, 5, Empire Strikes Back is good, I guess, but man, the original Star Wars, the first one that began it all, if you watch it now, pacing kind of sucks. There's a lot of slow shit in that. And Star Wars in general seems to have a lot of politics and Senate maneuvering and VPs and bullshit. It's not the space pirate movie that I remember it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Star Wars. I've made no secret of that. It's not for me. Not a fan of that.
I like it. I'm looking forward to Han Solo, or Solo, I guess it's called. You know, I haven't seen it yet, but I always enjoy them. It's just there seems to me to be a disconnect between how like relevant and important they are in cultural, almost global culture, right? Like the fucking ISIS guys are getting motivation from the rebel forces. America is finding like Star Wars to be a thing. Luke, I Am Your Father is probably more famous than 77 years ago, yet the movies are just good.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some sort of group think going on where everybody wants to be fucking cool and like the thing or something. I feel like I don't know if people looked at it objectionally, if they went into those movies maybe with no predetermined sort of idea about like how great these movies are supposed to be. Like if they just pale in comparison to Lord of the Rings or any of the great movies. Honestly, like I'd rather watch the fucking Italian Job or something than Star Wars. Like I can think of 50 movies off the top of my head that are just twice as good as fucking Star Wars. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. They're all fucking stupid. They're all bad. There's only like 3 actors in the entire series that are any good at all. The guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original, and the guy that plays Obi-Wan in the prequels, Ewan McGregor. They're the only good acting performances in the whole fucking thing. That and the fucking CGI Yoda was pretty fucking good, and that's it. It's fucking shit. It's fucking shit. Stupid.
Your
fucking
mentioning
story.
of the Italian Job perfectly fits the question I asked. Like when I first saw that, I was like, "This is neat," and then I tried to watch that movie again like less than a year ago, and I got like 30 minutes in, and like all of it started flooding back, and I'm like, "Oh, this has never been a good movie," and I just turned it off.
Yeah, I don't know. Good. I think maybe for some people, like that movie was so big that it sort of has a place. Your memory works in a really unique way. So I think that they think back on it fondly, maybe because of what it meant to them at that point in their lives. Especially if you were alive when the originals came out. Like I get that. Like when they came out, they were incredibly advanced with their CGI and with their special effects, and it was a huge story. Up until then, a lot of the like space drama stuff was so cheesy. This alien race has put a video game.
Find the best fighters, right?
Yeah, this alien race has put these video game arcade machines all over the universe, and whenever someone breaks the super duper high score, they're like, "Oh shit, that guy could be a starfighter for us." It's called the Last Starfighter. And so they like warp this kid up into space. They're like, "You got $1 billion on the Last Starfighter video game," or whatever the fuck. "Welcome to the Colonial Fleet." And then like the whole Colonial Fleet gets wiped out that day. And he's the only starfighter left in the universe. And he gets like their most advanced ship. And it's so fucking stupid because at the end, he's like crazy surrounded by hundreds of ships. And like his alien co-pilot's like, "Press the red button." Blah, 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 blah. And he does it. And the ship just starts spinning faster than the speed of light, shooting lasers in every possible direction, and just destroys an entire fleet of ships. It's retarded. That's the competition Star Wars had.
Ships should have had that feature,
right?
The spinning.
They would have shot each other. It was really only useful if you're the only ship remaining around.
We've been outsmarted again by the damned last sky sweeper, whatever.
That's Starfighter.
Yeah, that's the kind of competition that it had.
It was fun, but Kyle's right. Like you've got that movie, which is a goof, and it had lots of CGI in it, but 1980s CGI is silly. It looked like 1980s video games. And then Star Wars comes out, and suddenly, like, it's just another level. It's a serious Star movie. It was good.
Yeah, it came out in 84, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't look like 84. Star Wars looks so much better. And even by comparison, if you look at 2001: A Space Odyssey, that's the best space movie ever made. Watch that shit. It was made in like 1967, and it looks like it was made last year. It's incredible. It's incredible. Like let me 2000.
If it's that good, it means they weren't trying, right? It means that all the scenes are like inside rooms that they could pull off in 1967. What looks incredible is the last Star Wars movie I saw. That looks incredible. In 1967, it can't be good. It can't be.
You've never seen it?
And they can go too far with CGI and do shit like the Hobbit series where it looks terrible. And pulls you out of the moment entirely. Yeah. Whereas Lord of the Rings is dope.
Everyone's seen the rocket jump thing about bad CGI, and CGI sucks except when it doesn't. At the time, Mad Max was getting huge accolades for its use of practical effects and how great it looked because of all these practical effects. And then they started showing what it looked like before CGI. Ordinary and lame, and CGI is awesome. I think people just love to hate it.
I mean, it can be used very well, but It can also be used shittily. Have you guys ever seen that movie from the 90s, Rocket Man?
Yeah, with that where he goes to Mars and he
He farts in his suit.
He farts
and
in
it
the
goes
suit.
through the tube into the other guy's suit, and that's a movie I think that, like, when I saw it, it came out in like 97. Like, I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like, farts. Whoa, what's not to like? But now I bet if I went back, I'd be like, oh, this is pretty shit.
I never wore out of Mike Myers, but I've seen enough Jim Carrey for my entire life. He's just done with it. He plays one character in every movie.
False.
I'm
Come on, the
Jim
Truman
Carrey.
Show. What's the one where
23.
like 23 is fucking weird.
Dude, that movie was retarded.
And there's the movie where he like loses his memory or whatever of his relationship with that girl, the chick from Titanic. What's that Jim Carrey movie? Jim Carrey movie.
Oh shit! I know what you're
Are
talking
you doing
about.
movies where he played something else?
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
He
It's so fucking good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
really
seen
good
it.
in that one. Oh, yeah.
I like Truman Show too. But I guess what I'm saying is that Ace Ventura 2, Ace Ventura 3, I assume. I don't know. All the movies that Dumb and Dumber 2, Dumber Still, I don't even know. They're all the same. I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, the most recent Dumb and Dumberer or Dumb and Dumber 2, whatever it was called, was not good. But the original Dumb and Dumber was very funny, and it still is funny. We watched a clip of that like within the last 6 months.
Yeah,
on
we're
here
shitting.
and laughed
where Jeff
our asses
Daniels is
off at
shitting.
it.
Yeah. First Dumb and Dumber is one of the best comedy movies ever made. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Going back to that, like if anybody's not seen that, that's one of the greatest movies ever made. Stanley Kubrick's a fucking genius. It's absolutely incredible.
Those monkey suits in the beginning look awful.
You think so? I think they look.
Yeah.
Well, they're not supposed to be monkeys. They're supposed to be like, early hominids or something like that. I don't think they look that bad at all.
Australopithecus kind of thing.
I'm looking at them right now. Let's see. I don't think they look that bad. Yeah, they're okay.
You know what I'm loving is I was talking to you guys about this before the show hours ago, that Lord of the Rings, that new show that's coming out, they just confirmed they are not doing the CGI bullshit orc nonsense that they did in The Hobbit. Mm-hmm. They are going back to real deal people, physical effects, physical makeup, armor, that makes me so much more excited for the show. That is part of what made the orcs and the Uruk-hai and everything in Lord of the Rings so spectacular, is because they were all unique people dressed up in armor with physical makeup added. Not that fucking nonsense in The Hobbit.
The Hobbit was just brutal to watch.
What year was The Hobbit?
It was probably 7-8 years ago now, I would guess.
Yeah.
And they stretched that one movie story into 3 movies, and fuck that. They absolutely ruined The Hobbit. But the physical makeup on the orcs, it may sound like a small thing. That's a huge fucking thing.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
To all the villains as well. Like, you want physical makeup on there. You get real facial expressions. And that also allows the actors who are engaging with those people to do a better job. And so that's why physical makeup is absolutely the way to go.
With enough money, I want to go. With enough money, CGI is good. I feel like this is done all. The CGI, when I was young, sucked, right? And it was like, oh my God, put firecrackers on models again. This space CGI is garbage. Now, if you would have put a firecracker on a model and try to pass that shit off like they did in the 70s, no one would want to watch that. That was terrible. Now, what they're having the hardest time with is people's faces, right? Because we're very sensitive for some reason to the way people's faces is. We observe reactions, and it's important in how we say that again.
The uncanny valley, where you can tell there are minor things wrong with facial expressions made under CGI, whereas physical makeup, not a problem.
They don't do it, but give it time. Right, give it time. I think we might have to endure a few years of bad movies or something, and then they'll get it right. Then they'll figure out, like, aha, it turns out people are incredibly sensitive to the eye crinkles crow's feet thing, and we were making that smooth. People are incredibly sensitive to the height of an upper lip, or who knows what. And someday, it'll pass makeup. just like
I don't think
spaceships
so.
did, monsters
I think it's
did.
gonna be a very long time if that ever happens. But I don't think that CGI spaceships have passed models. I think that miniatures are just way more expensive, but I think they look so much better on camera. Like all that Starship Trooper shit is miniatures in frame. All the old Star Trek Next Generation, when you'd see the ship, is like a 6-foot miniature most of the time. They used a 4-foot most
In
of the
Lord
time,
of the
actually.
Rings, there's a scene where they poured water on trees
Looks awful.
or something. It's garbage. Please do that.
Which scene?
It's, I think, is it the third one? It
Break
involves
the dams.
Yeah.
Free the water.
Break the dams, free the river.
It's terrible.
And then Treebeard is standing there, and so are Quick Beam and a number of other Ents that I won't name by name because it's very autistic. And you see all that water pour down, washing all the goblins and away, and some
It
of
looks
the
bad.
Urukai. It does look bad, but why does it
Most
look
of the Battle of Pelennor Field
'Cause
looks bad.
It's a model. It's a model. They poured some really small amount of water across a couple fake trees, and it looks terrible. It doesn't.
Water looks amazing with CGI now. They have mastered water. They had water mastered
Titanic
15 years ago or more. Like go back to The Perfect Storm, that movie that came out in like 2003 or something. I don't know. It's been a long time ago. Those waves are epic. They look real. They've mastered water. You cannot do water in camera and make it look as good in CGI. At least not with a miniature. Maybe you get a giant whirlpool or something and you could do it. But
Wait, Kyle, I have to ask. Did you mean to say that the Battle of Isengard looked terrible? Because the Battle of Pelennor Field, where it's all the Rohirrim charging in.
The Battle of Pelennor Field.
These aren't even real words.
Shit. The Battle of Pelennor Field looks like shit when all of those fake ass green goblins and ghouls start sweeping over the field, and all of a sudden these weightless phantoms are dragging down Oliphants. It looks like shit.
No.
Do you know what
I'm fine with that. What I'm saying is that initial Rohirrim charge
in there it's great.
is very inspiring.
Death!
Yeah.
One of the worst CGI scenes I've ever seen is, I think it was The Mummy Returns. It's The Rock when he debuts he bursts through that door as the Scorpion King, and it looks like a PlayStation 2 game. And he's just like
people's elbow.
And then it's just like, what?
There's a YouTube videos. I think Corridor guys.
Corridor Digital, right?
Yeah, they took that scene and made it not suck. They're like, oh yeah.
So they did a few things to his body. I think what they did was they went and redid it or like upgraded it somehow through CGI. But then what they did was they ran it through machine learning and used deep fakes for the Rock's face. Mm-hmm. So they ran like million photos of the Rock because he's in everything through scenes of movies. They get every angle of him from that era, and they put it on and it looks better. It still looks crap, but for what they did compared to a high budget studio at the time who just rushed that scene, that was terrible.
Yeah, and there were a bunch of other things that like I wouldn't have picked up on. They're like, oh yeah, you don't notice too much, but do you see how his leg has no shadow? This example, but the specifics don't pay attention to. Yeah. But they're like, yeah, lack of shadow is actually a problem. And do you see how there's a light source here and it has no impact over there? Yeah, well, you don't know why it looks fake, but that's the kind of thing that makes it look fake. And they just did a lot of shit that I wouldn't have appreciated.
Yeah, some stuff looks great with CGI. Some stuff is an abomination. Like if you go to the Planet of the Apes movies, the new ones, amazing CGI. They can make monkey faces look real. They just look real. They look incredible. Like things like horses running, can't really tell the difference. Barely can tell. Like when they take like 50 real horses in Game of Thrones and they splice in 150 fake ones around them. I can't pick out the fake ones and the real ones anymore. But like if you go to a movie like The Thing's remake, John Carpenter's The Thing back with Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. The original Thing with Kurt Russell. It's like top 5 on almost every list. Very good movie. It's all real stuff. It's all practical effects. And you have like these weird like tentacles flickering around with stop motion. It's all in screen. It looks real. There's models, there's puppets. It's gruesome body horror. Then they went and made the remake, which is technically a prequel, like, I don't know, 8 years ago or something like that. And they filmed it with practical effects again, because of course this has a built-in audience that loves practical effects. And the studio went, nah, CGI over all of that. And so they literally CGI'd over all of the like puppets and practical effects that these people spent God knows how much time and money making, and it looks awful. And it bombed.
This is like the rocket jump guys did, right? They're like, hey, you think you hate CGI, but what you hate is bad CGI. Here's some good CGI. Like, I remember you praising Mad Max because Mad Max was all practical effects, and you said that for a long time. And then later it came out, like, we got to see what Mad Max looked like without the CGI enhancements. And it's like, oh, wowzers. Like, this is really a heavy CGI movie that's so good, we thought it was all practical.
A lot of it was practical, though. Like what the CGI was like, it was like what I described, where you've got like 50 real horses and like 150 fake ones added.
It had a 2-foot flame, and then in the movie, it's a 16-foot flame. And
but stuff like there's a scene like right at the end where the giant hulk of a guy rips the engine out of that like semi truck with his bare fucking hands somehow, and then the thing sort of hits one of those ramps so that it does that corkscrew wreck. Like they did that. Like a lot of the wrecks in particular were real, and so like the particle
when you
effects
see the wreck in real, there's barely any sand getting tossed. It looks really
it's been redressed.
I don't know how to underwhelming is what I'm looking for. Without the CGI, all those practical effects look lame, and then they add the CGI and they look big time huge.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of what they should be doing with movies, is not going too far in either direction. Unless you can master practical effects, go for it. But modern day, I think you combine, you find that walk the line of doing things practical and then adding CGI that you wouldn't notice, but you don't want to rely on it to be like the main character or animal all the time. Because you look back at movies that did CGI only so much. Like one of my favorite movies ever is Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And that movie still holds up to this day. Obviously, the T-1000 doesn't look that great, but for its time, 1991, that is an incredible looking movie to this day. And you look at the new Terminator movies, and everyone's kind of too CGI, and they're overdoing it. If you don't show too much, then it's way more believable.
Yeah, I thought so Terminator 1 even looked really good. The only scene that looks fake in that to me is when you've got the Arnold puppet of his head in the mirror doing the eye surgery, and then the stop motion when he's just the endoskeleton, I guess endoskeleton, like walking around. That looks fake. But then in Terminator 2, the only like even the scene where the T-1000 jumps onto the helicopter, smashes it with his helmet, and then pours himself.
Terminator 2 is the one where Arnold fights the metal liquid dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Patrick. Yeah, that's such a good movie. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, dude, I swear I've seen Terminator 2 30 times, maybe.
At least, like many times growing up.
I'm sorry.
I gotta tell you, Kyle, I was very triggered on your Pelennor Fields comment earlier until you that it was about the ghosts.
I'll keep that in mind, and I'll save it. I'll keep that in my back pocket for like 6 or 8 months, and then I'm just gonna like shit all over like the Twin Towers, or maybe like the whole plot of the Return of the King. I'll tell you what has not aged very well, and that is The Wire in my eyes. Now, the quality's off the charts. It's incredible. So fucking good. I'm in season 2 and I still like it. Okay. The acting, the writing, the cinematography. It's the Breaking Bad guy behind the camera for like a lot of the seasons, I think I read.
Okay.
It's the police brutality. it's the police brutality. I like I'm on CNN like watching about those 5 cops that beat that man to death, and then I'm watching The Wire, and the good guys are beating a guy just like that, where they're like holding him up and like beating the shit out of him. And then like the next episode, a character that we're supposed to think of as like a doofus mostly, but a good guy, blinds a 14-year-old for leaning on his car. Like the kid shows up later with an eye patch, and they beat the shit out of him for something unrelated. He's like running drugs through a parking lot. They just beat the shit out of him.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah, there's a great scene where one of the like drug dealers or whatever like pops a cop, punches him in the face in like an arrest type situation. He's an older cop, so he goes down hard, and they start beating the shit out of him. Every cop within reach. And you look, and here comes Kima, the female cop, and she is sprinting, and you think, thank God Kima's here to like save this kid. Thank God Kima is there. She's sprinting so she can get her licks in. When she gets there, she's like, "You don't never hit a police," and she's using but she's got a flashlight, and she's like stomping this kid out, and like they beat the kid to like half to death. You don't never hit a police, and it's like, damn, that's our best, like smartest character we have on the scene. Like, there's no one else who will show up and say, that's too much of a beating. If anything, the people who aren't there would want a more severe beating to be taking place. Because all the cops are dirty. Like the whole thing that everybody goes, yeah, get him about Omar is Omar lies in court on a guy and sends him to life in prison. Like that's their big win for the good guys. McNulty's like looking at Stringer Bell, like, yeah, we're not on the streets anymore. We're in the courtroom. Like, and it's like, dude, you just had that guy lie under oath to on this other guy. Now, it was true what he said, but he wasn't there to see it. You know, he's like, yeah, I saw him kill that guy. No, you didn't. You just know he did it. Anyway, it doesn't fucking age well because the cops are such like lying pieces of shit. The way they'll intimidate people into getting into their cars. He's like, we'll play it like she doesn't have a choice. Like, come on, get in the car. We're going downtown. And then they try that shit on one of the Polak guys, and he's like, the fuck we are. The fuck we're going anywhere. If you want me to go anywhere with you, you got to put me under arrest. In that case, I want to talk to my shop steward, and he's going to call the local 133rd's lawyer downtown, and he's going with me in that car. And they're like, fuck you, fat man. And they walk away all defeated. They didn't have anything else. They were just trying to bully him.
That's how cops are, man. They're big, mean bullies.
Taylor, are you watching Yellowstone yet? And if not, why haven't you started?
No, I looked for it on my streaming services, and I didn't see it anywhere except for like having to buy or get Peacock.
Yeah,
and
Paramount.
Gobble, bitch.
There's gotta. I have to convince myself that there's more on Peacock for me to be interested in now. I'm not going to buy a service for the whole show.
Here's Peacock. You get like The Office, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, those NBC sitcoms. That's about all there is of value. There's some reality shows.
Don't care.
Dakar Desert Racing. Dakar? No.
No, I already forgot to cancel fucking Motor Trend from when I watched all the.
Remember the end of Event Horizon, how they had like opened that hell dimension, and they're just all getting cornholed with like big drill bits with their eyes gouged out and shit.
Yeah, they're like Homer when Homer gets fed donuts until he doesn't want donuts anymore, except they can't. That's the joke, because they can't get Homer to.
Oh, that's his hell dimension.
Donuts.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, you see how much you want donuts when you've eaten 1 million of them, and then he's like done. More, please. And he keeps asking.
Killed the voice so much.
Dude, I like the chili the chili cook-off when some is it Flanders chili that defeats him initially.
Flanders is the one who Homer's like 3-alarm chili, eh? And he eats it, and he's like, it's 2 alarm taps. And I was like, oh, boys, he's right. It's not 3 alarm, it's 2.5 taps. And he's like pissing about it. Yeah. It's Chief Wiggum's chili.
Chief Wiggum's.
With the finest peppers from south of the border. Yeah.
No. It was more diabolical than that. He was like, it's the black death pepper from Guatemala. And it, like, when he put it in, it like turned to ash and like made the whole chili turn black or some shit. And Homer, like, it burns Homer's ass up, so he feels defeated. And he comes back. He decides to like coat his entire mouth and upper digestive system with wax. Yeah. So he takes a big candle and like gargles it, and then swallows, and it coats his lips, tongue, inside of. And he goes back and just in Chief Wiggum's face just kills all that chili, all that death chili. And like everybody's mind is fucking blown. And then he has like an LSD.
But he's covered in wax, and he goes, "Don't quit your day job." like everyone knows, like nobody knows, just wax all over.
But the animation completely shifts like 10 seconds later, and like he's in the desert with like coyotes and the moon, and everything's melting in front of him, and getting it's one of my favorite episodes, I think. I like
the Johnny Cash episode, one of their best cameos ever.
Did not know that.
Yeah, the voice of
I didn't watch it as an adult.
The voice of that coyote is Johnny Cash.
That's really cool. See, I didn't watch the show like ever as an adult. Really, I stopped watching Simpsons when I was about 18 or 19 when I started like working and moved out.
If you popped back into like season 5, like if you watched like Mr. Plow, you'd get a laugh out of it, like that kind of shit. The Cape Fear one, that's tremendous. Like the old seasons are so funny.
Like that's Emmy award winning Simpsons. When you go back to the Cape Fear shit, you know, I've never seen the movie Cape Fear. I know what it's about. There's
I can't believe I have one over on you.
I know what it's about. I know the premise. It's, you know, Robert De Niro wants to horn in on the guy's daughter, and then he's like hulking and scary somehow, De Niro, and like the whole boat fight scene and everything. But I've never seen it.
Yeah, but it's very, very good. Like it's one of my favorite performances. I thought Taxi Driver was really, really good. I did enjoy it, but I think Cape Fear was better. Like it was
I've never seen Raging Bull either.
I haven't seen that either.
You know, that's Scorsese made that, and it's De Niro and Pesci and maybe some other people, but they don't come to mind. It's the boxing movie where it's a good bit of it's in black and white. Maybe all of it is. I'm not sure. I've never seen it. There's a bunch of those. Why did Robert De Niro just decide to stop being good at making movies? Somewhere around
Robert De Niro, he's like 85. Like that's why.
Yeah, he got that Meet the Parents money, and he was like, "Fuck it, I can phone it in like this.
That's all I got to do." Yeah,
and like everything after that has just been just.
I made Heat. I'm fine. I'm taking care of
Heat is so good. You know, I can't remember which like special forces group or law enforcement agency uses it, but they use that footage of Val Kilmer tactically reloading. Yeah, because he does it so clean, so perfectly. The way he's checking for like enemies and the way he's like staying in hard cover, like everything about what he's doing apparently is perfect. And they talk about how much that Val Kilmer like trained for that and like practiced that, and it's a great movie. Heat is the best bank robber movie of all time, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his react to contact that he has when he's walking out of the bank and he's just smiling at his buddies, and the millisecond he sees a cop just drops the smile, gun comes up. It's so good.
Yeah. It's a great movie. What's your favorite Western movie? I ask everyone this. I like to know because I know I know the right answer.
I know the right answer too.
Well, I haven't seen
the same one.
I haven't seen The Dirty Dozen or The Good and Bad and the Ugly or all the other Westerns.
Let me see if I have the name right.
Probably Tombstone.
Tombstone's top 3.
Just because no character I've ever like. You know how guys make jokes about Ryan Gosling and stuff, like literally me. I remember being 7 years old and watching Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday and being like, "That's me, literally me."
Yeah, that's me. Me and that guy, 2 peas in a pod.
I'm just like him for real.
Tombstone is number 3, I think, on my list all-time best Westerns. Number 2 is the I go back and forth, but it's either The Unforgiven or Lonesome Dove for the top 2. Lonesome Dove kind of skirts in there because it was like a TV mini series and it's like 4.5 hours long. But those are the best Westerns of all time, in my opinion. The Unforgiven is something that Clint Eastwood bought as a younger man and waited until he was old enough to play that character. And it's so good. God, I can quote like half that fucking movie.
Unforgiven's the one I was going to say. But to be honest, Unforgiven and Tombstone, it's hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
And I've only seen it once, but I remember really liking True Grit.
True Grit's the new one or the older one with the
new
Joey?
one. The new
one is really good.
The new one's good. The new one's a good film. Yeah.
So
it's very
rarely,
underrated. Very underrated.
So rarely do remakes and reimaginings or whatever, especially when it's like 30, 40 years removed, are they any good? That RoboCop's a perfect example of just like, what the fuck did you do? Like, you missed the whole point of RoboCop. Total Recall's the same shit. But when they remade True Grit, the recasting was excellent. You got Matt Damon and what's his fucking name? Well, I can't hear the sound. Goddamn thing. He's fucking
it's Jeff what's his name?
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
Jeff Bridges plays Rooster Cogburn, the one-eyed bounty hunter who shoots first and asks questions later. And a little girl comes to him, says, "My father's been murdered by outlaws, and I hear that you're a man of true grit. And I'm gonna pay you to help me take these men down." And Matt Damon pals along too. And so the three of them are this really motley crew who are traveling in search of like a band of outlaws together. And Matt Damon and Rooster Cogburn are like pissing contest the whole way through, throwing like biscuits in the air and shooting them with their pistols. Like it's fun. And he's got you need captions because Jeff Bridges decides that he's going to be absolutely incomprehensible.
Tater's easier to understand.
We're going to check out the gun, but
how's this? Is No Country for Old Men a Western?
It's a neo-Western. It's a neo-Western.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
It is, but I don't like to admit it is. I put Coen brother films on their own.
True Grit's a Coen brother. True Grit's a Coen brother film. The new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? A remake is better than the original. I know Kyle's going to agree with me. Judge Dredd.
Oh, of course. Of course.
It's not a Western.
Well, yeah.
No, it's a remake. I have this personality flaw where when someone says like a remake is never better than the original, or he said it was so rare, so I instantly start scouring for exceptions.
Oh no, that's a good one. There's a really good reimagining that Bruce Willis did of the classic Clint Eastwood movie called where he kind of goes into a town and plays the two gangs. There's two gangs running a town, and he goes in and plays them against each other. There's a Clint Eastwood movie where he does this. Bruce Willis remade it. Made it his own thing, and it's called what the fuck's it called?
I'll think of it in a second. Western.
It's kind of, but it's in like it's like in like the early 1900s. So he has 1911 pistols.
It's not called Last Man Standing, by chance.
It's called Last Man Standing. It's called Last Man Standing.